So, you sent me a text message the other day, and when I read it, I was like, our followers have a treat coming for them this week. God really downloaded something into your spirit.
Yeah. What? Pause.
Pause. Oh, like I thought you were telling me like pause, like oh, I thought I did something wrong.
No.
Well, anyway, I'm Al.
And I'm Gleacy, and we're from Forever I Do, where we teach you how to brag. Brag, that's right. Build relationships according to God. So, you're married now, what? What
pause.
do you do?
I got a bet.
So today we're going to talk about taking a pause. When you get married, a lot of things are happening, a lot of things are going on, and sometimes you really have to take a pause. Now, this pause is a pause, but it stands for something. All right?
What's that?
So, the P is pay attention to your spouse. You've just gone through a whole wedding planning season, a whole engagement, and it's just been like people around and all these other things going on. And then all of a sudden, it's just you and your spouse. And it's your job to pay attention to what your spouse needs.
Pay attention to what they need. So what does that look like? I know we've talked about it before, but what does that look like? They just got married.
Yes.
Now what? How do they pay attention to what their spouse needs?
So daily check-ins or, check-ins throughout the week to say how things are going. If you like that meal that your spouse cooked.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But yes, you want to highlight those things. You want to have those conversations. And if you're going to pay attention to what they need, it can't be something that you just think is going to happen by proximity or just by being around. Yeah. Oh, we've dated for a year, or we were engaged for a couple of years, or whatever your story may be. That does not mean that they're going to know what you need. You have to open your mouth.
I think that you need...
Yeah. Nobody is telepathic.
Yes.
Like, it only happens by those conversations. Like, one of the great tools that we hope that you all are using out there is love language. And guess what? Did you know that your love language could actually change? So it could have been one thing 3, 4, 5 years ago and be something completely different now. Yeah. So when you're having those check-ins, maybe do the love language test again just to see if it has changed. And if it has, have a discussion so you can make sure you're meeting your partner's needs where they're at. Not where they were. That's
right. That's so good to make sure that you're focusing on the right now.
Yes.
And not
absolutely.
what was, because things definitely change.
Yes.
Because I know after almost 16 years of marriage, I still love the same things that I loved 16 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. All right. So after you start making sure that you're paying intentional attention to your spouse, the next thing that you want to do is acknowledge that there's room to grow.
You mean like I'm not perfect? Like I'm not hitting the mark every time?
I wasn't talking about you.
Oh, okay.
I was talking about
Okay. But yeah. But that's the thing, you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta be transparent in your marriage. You gotta acknowledge that there may actually be room for improvement, to get better, to do it better than you did it before. And you can only do that by having those conversations, by having those transparent moments, and by sharing and asking that question. Are there any needs of yours that I'm currently not meeting? Yeah. Don't be afraid, fellas. Don't run for the hills and I ain't asking that, because then that means I'm going to have to do X, Y, and Z. You may have to do X, Y, and Z, but if it means pleasing your wife and meeting her needs, then you should want to do X, Y, and Z. And the same thing goes in reverse.
Yeah, that's so good. I can remember when I was doing the laundry and you offered me some constructive feedback about how I did the laundry.
I didn't want pink shirts.
Oh, come on.
That were once white.
They weren't pink. Anyway, it was really hard for me to accept that. But I had to acknowledge that I had room to grow in that area.
Yeah.
And, you know, fast forward 16 years, I washed all the laundry.
Not.
I don't wash any laundry, but it's okay. I'm only on sheets and towel duties these days, but it's okay. But you have to, like I would say, you have to acknowledge that you always want to be continuing to grow. You always want to be making sure that you're making changes, because things need to always improve. You should always be looking, okay, I made my spouse happy yesterday. What can I do today to supersede what I did yesterday? Or I made a great dinner yesterday. What can I do to, you know, supersede their expectations today? You just want to make sure that, once again, you're being intentional.
Yes. And again, it should be the rush to serve.
Yeah.
Marriage is about serving the other person. If you're trying to just serve your own needs, serve your own wants and desires, then somebody's going to be missing out. And again, you can't be afraid to actually make improvements. I know, like, one of the things you can say, like, you always want to work in your areas of your strengths, but you can't say your weakness is, like I used to do, I'm not an affectionate guy, so that's just a weakness of mine. It's nothing I can do about it. I used to believe that was actually true. That's just who I am. But I was convicted, and we had that conversation, and then I realized that as much as I can be intentional about chores or anything else around the house, I can also be intentional about making or saying or relaying those words of affirmation that my wife needed to hear. So now we have a whole board that's just dedicated to words of affirmation.
Go ahead and tell them some, babe. Let me hear some.
If I don't say it, I can always write it, and then at the end of every week, we go ahead and read it.
No, I want you to tell me.
Yes. She made a great meal the other day, like this stuffed potato with shrimp, and I don't even know what else was in it, but it was good. I ate 2 of them. I probably shouldn't have, but I ate 2 of them. But again, like, just having those words of affirmation, saying, oh, thank you for picking our son up the other day. He just got back from camp. She made that ride to the airport. We don't live that close to the airport, but she made that ride while I was at work. But again, just making sure that you say thank you, making sure that you say great job, making sure that you say those things that your spouse needs to hear if that's their love language.
Yeah. So y'all, you married? Now what?
Pause.
Hey, you got to make sure that you take that pause. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We post videos every Sunday.